Many years ago, I spent an evening out at the Hope Lodge with my mother, cooking dinner with the families of cancer patients at the Cancer Center. And there was one woman in particular who, when she realized that my father was Lee Moffitt, came and embraced me in a giant hug and said that my father was a miracle, and that every day when she walked by the sign to the Cancer Center, she thanked God for H. Lee Moffitt, and said that if it wasn't for the Cancer Center, her husband would not be alive today, and warmly told me that she thought he was an angel.
Lee Moffitt was a nerd. He wore white socks, he had funny colored Bermudas, and everybody called him Woody Allen in law school. And then he got cancer, and all of a sudden it wasn't funny anymore. And he lived through that, and I think he made a vow. And one day he was elected to the legislature, and he drove us slap crazy for 3 years until we gave him the money. And from a $600,000 appropriation to study, look what you have today.
Lee is just a magnificent individual. You can't say no to Lee. And Lee spoke to us on several occasions about making an appropriate gift. And based on his persuasion, we bought into what his vision was, and I think his vision has been fulfilled.
That was Lee Moffitt's dream. We didn't see it, we didn't have the vision, we didn't have the understanding. Hell, he probably didn't either. But he knew what he wanted to do, and it just continues to build, and you've got today what you've got today.
The role that Lee Moffitt played was that of someone who strikes a match, that lights a fire.
Lee uses a lot of tools to convince people. Sometimes he tricks them. And here was this resolution for the officers of the corporation. And I looked down the sheet and I saw that I was to be Secretary Treasurer. And I said to Lee, we didn't discuss this. He said, don't worry about it, Don. He says, the treasurer's just going to be the finance chairman, and it's no big deal, and you'll enjoy doing it. His persuasiveness is his tenaciousness. When he sets his mind on achieving something and having someone do something, it happens.
I have lots of memories of Mr. Moffitt as someone who was always around. You know, I'd worked places before that were named after people, and the person was never around. So on top of that, he was so young and vital and energetic, and back then, as now, so convinced that the Moffitt Cancer Center had a place in the future for Florida. And it inspired all of us to want to do more for the Cancer Center and for Lee.
He allows people to have this internal spirit which makes them want to contribute as an individual to the Cancer Center. Every year when we have our Employee of the Year award, it means so much because it all stems from Lee, and it stems from his belief that one person can and does make a difference.
Lee Moffitt's passion and drive to find a cure for cancer is what has ignited this Cancer Center, is what has sustained this Cancer Center, is what beats in the drive of everyone who works in this Cancer Center, who's dedicated to our mission.
I think it's pretty fair to say, if it wasn't for the kind of person that Lee Moffitt is, I probably never would have been here. I think a great deal about him from the standpoint of his vision for the future, but it is in fact his commitment and his passion that drives what he does, and therefore what we all do.
Lee Moffitt is one of the most passionate men and well-meaning men I have ever met. It's part of that personality that is actually part of our culture here at Moffitt, and it is part of what makes Moffitt Cancer Center a special place, is that I think we all feel his passion, and that gets translated into commitment for what we're doing. So it's a pleasure to be a part of that kind of team.
This place takes care of people from all over the world. From the time I came here with my daughter, we met people that were from Canada, from Europe, that had heard about Moffitt Cancer Center. And Lee, you've created a place that is world-renowned, that's award-winning, and that's all great. Believe me, that is all great. But what you do here to save lives is even greater.
I've been very fortunate to have my father, not only as a father and the type of father figure that he is, who's constantly supported every dream that I have, and has been a best friend, but somebody that I can also be proud of as a man, as an individual outside of the family, for his accomplishments and the heart that he shared, not just with his own family, but with an ever-increasing community of people. And I couldn't be more proud of him. And I know, speaking for myself and for my grandparents, Bibi and Clara, that we're proud to have the name Moffitt because of the honor that he has brought to the name. And I love him very much.